Good evening. This is Professor Rasif Iqbal. So in the last session we were discussing about class A output stage amplifier. So we discussed there it's a example circuit with its transfer characteristics, which we discussed in a previous session. We'll continue the same topic in this session, that is class A output stage amplifier. We'll see here it's a signal waveforms. So consider the operation of emitter follower circuit, which we discussed in the previous session, for a sine wave input. When you applied the sine wave input Vi, so we will analyze what the signal waveform we will get at the output and across the various points of the circuit. So here you can see the output voltage V0, which we also seen that is equal to VCC minus VCE1, or we can say VCE is equal to VCC minus V0, right? It is clearly shown here that when VCE is decreases, output voltage will increase. VCE1 means VCE of transistor Q1, that is upper transistor, which you seen in the circuit. So which, if that is you can see here, if this voltage across this VCE is decreases, the output voltage will get increases, right? Okay, when that VCE increases, output voltages get decreases, right? So let's see this waveforms here. So here we have the output voltage for sinusoidal input at the Vi. We will get same sinusoidal output at the output volt across the RL load, which varies between VCC and minus VCC. So initially when the input Vi is a 0, then VBE1 is a 0. When VBE1 is a 0, we know that the transistor Q1 will not conduct. Will not conduct in the sense the transistor Q1 will not dependent on the applied input Vi. The transistor Q1 is conduct here. The current flow across the transistor Q1 is a I due to this biasing. You see, when there is a nothing applied here, 0 is applied here, right? Due to this biasing, transistor Q1 and Q2 both conduct, but the current flow through the transistor Q1 is I only, right? I only. Here the current is also I, right? There is no current across RL. Load current is 0. So therefore output voltage is also a 0, right? And since the current here flowing I, right? Current here flowing I, you can see clearly in the waveforms here, right? Current flowing across the IC1 of transistor Q1 is I, right? So therefore output voltage is 0 because the current flow through the transistor Q2 is also I. So therefore IE1 here is a IE1 approximately equal to IC1, both are I, right? There is no load current IL, so therefore IL is 0. And in the same way, the voltage across VCE1 between collector and emitter is a VCC, understood, right? So as you increase the input voltage Vi, when we increase the input voltage Vi, definitely you can see here in the circuit, right? When you increase the Vi, causes the Q1 to conduct more, right? So therefore the current flow here is more than I, increases from I to upwards, right? As the current here increases, since this is constant current I, the increased amount of current will flow through the load IL, right? Right, because I is constant here. Increase here more than I, whatever the increase here more than I flow through the load IL. So therefore load IL is a conducting. Since the more current will flow here, the VCE across Q1 is getting decreased. Since the VCE across the Q1 getting decreased, the output voltage will slowly getting increased, right? That is what we can see in a waveform here, right? As the current IC1 is more becoming more increasing from I towards the upwards, right? The voltage, output voltage is increased because of VCE is a decreased. I told you that here in the equation, when VCE is getting decreased, output voltage will increase. So therefore the VCE1 which is decrease causes the output to increase, right? So as the VCE getting decrease and the voltage across VCE is completely become zero, right? No further decrease in the VCE, it is completely become zero, since the current is flow through the ICE become flow through the transistor Q1 become maximum, which is will become double the I which is 2I. So therefore, since the current flow through across the transistor Q1 is a 2I, right, the load current will become I. The load current will become I, because I amount of current flow towards the transistor Q2 and remaining current will flow into the IL. So current through IL is become I, right? Since the current, since the VCE1 is getting completely become zero, you can see this formula, it is clearly saying that when this will become zero, completely become zero, V0 is equal to VCC. V0 become equal to VCC. Hence the output voltage will equal to VCC. Right? Right. Then afterwards, in a similar fashion, right, when the input voltage is getting decreased, right, the current through transistor Q1, that is IC1, is also getting decreased, which causes the VCE to increase. Hence when VCE1 to increase, when VCE1 is getting increased, the output voltage is getting decreased. You can see getting decreased from here to here, from 0 to up to VCC. VCE1 is getting increased, hence the output voltage getting decreased from VCC up to the minus VCC, up to the minus VCC, right? So the maximum voltage across the VCE1 is 2 VCC. After 2 VCC, the voltage VCE1 will be get saturated, means transistor Q1 is get saturated. Further transistor Q1 will not conduct more than that. It will not flow more than the current 2I, right? It will conduct up to the current 2I, and the voltage will not further increases across the transistor Q1, and VCE1 is get saturated. Hence this maximum 2 VCC, if you see, when VCE become, you see the formula clearly here, when VCE become 2 VCC, the output voltage is become minus VCC. When you substitute 2 VCC here and calculate for output voltage, take the 2 VCC this side, VCC minus 2 VCC, it will become V0. You take this side, V0 is equal to VCC minus 2 VCC will give you minus VCC. So therefore output voltage will be will be minus VCC. So therefore here you can see that clearly, right? You will get the output voltage from plus VCC to minus VCC, right? So next we'll find out what is the power dissipation. So power dissipation is across to see the power dissipation. Actually, what is the power dissipation means? The amount of power required for conduction, means amount of power is dissipated across the two transistor Q1 and transistor Q2, right? Okay, so you can see here, right, since the condition can easily prevail for prolonged period of a time, since the maximum current flow through the transistor when the transistor is on is I, and the voltage will be the VCC. So therefore maximum instantaneous power dissipation is VCC into I across the transistor Q1, right? This is equal to the power dissipation in Q1 with no input signal applied, that is the quiescent power dissipation, right? So here power dissipation across the transistor Q1, in summary we can say that VCC into I, right? Similarly if you see the power dissipation across the transistors Q2 also, it is VCC into I, because the current flow here is the I, right? When there is no power applied, right, when there is no input applied, the current flow through the transistor Q1 Q2 also I, same as the transistor Q1, where also when there is no input applied, the current flow here there transistor Q1 is also I, and the voltage across that is VCC. So VCC into I is the power dissipation at the transistor Q1. Similarly same for the transistor Q2 when you are not applying any voltages, right? Okay, so right, so here because not applying any voltages means VCC and minus VCC we are applying. VCC we are applying to the transistor Q1, so VCC we are taking, and minus VCC we are applying to the transistor Q2, that VCC we are taking for transistor Q2. So here input voltage is not considered, right, because we are verifying it when there is no signal is applied. That is the power dissipation. So therefore the total power dissipation, yes, is the sum of these two, right? So therefore you can see clearly the power dissipation PD1 across the transistor Q1, for that waveform is shown here, which is VCC into I. So here you can see VCC into I. So VCC, when you multiplied VCC, right, see this is VCC, you multiplied with I, right? It is clearly it is showing that when I is increases, right, the here the power dissipation you see here, right, is getting decrease slowly with the waveform, because the VCC is getting decrease, right? So then it is after that when VCC is increase, it is slowly increases. If you multiply both, you will get this waveform, right, VCC into I. Okay, so therefore we can solve one problem for this power dissipation, so that you can understand more how to calculate the power dissipation here. So consider the emitter follower which is given in above figure, where VCC is 10 volt, I is 100 milli, RL is 100. Find the power dissipation in transistor Q1 and Q2 under the quiescent condition for the sinusoidal output voltage of maximum possible amplitude. Find the average power dissipation in Q1 and Q2. Right? See here, this, see, actually don't confuse. This is the waveform when you applied the input voltage, you will get, this is the power dissipation, right? Okay, when you not applied the input voltage, the power dissipation is sum of the power dissipation across the transistor Q1 when there is no input plus sum of the power dissipation across the transistor Q2 when there is no input, which is VCC into I plus VCC into I, 2 VCC I. When there is no input, 2 VCC I, VCC into I is the power dissipation, right? When applied the input, and that waveform is our power dissipation, and that average of that waveform when you applied the input, the average of that power dissipation we need to find in a problem given in a B, wherein A we need to find out the power dissipation when there is no signal applied. So when there is no signal applied, power dissipation across the transistor Q1, which is PD1 and is equal to PD2, both are equal to VCCI, then 10 into 0.1 is a 1 watt. So when it is applied, when signal is applied, so we know that we will get this waveform, right? We need to find out the average. We'll take the average here, half of the VCC into I is the average we'll take. So approximate average we'll get it here. The half of the means exactly middle between this, which is a half of the VCC into I. So therefore half of the VCC into I, half into 10 into 0.1 is a 0.5 watt is the power dissipated, right? Okay, so across the what PD1, right, means power dissipation for PD1, whereas the power dissipation for the PD2 is still I into VCC. Why? Because the current flow through the transistor Q2 is a, whether you applied the input voltage or not applied the input voltage, the transistor the current flow through the transistor Q2 is continuously I only, right? That current will not change, right, which will not vary. So only the current vary across the transistor Q1, hence you will get the power dissipation in terms of waveform in a PD1, power dissipation across the transistor Q1, whereas the power dissipation across the transistor Q2 is a constant only because there is no variation in the current across the transistor Q2, which is still I into VCC, hence it is 1 watt only, right? So finally power delivered to the load can be found. See, we also need to find what is the power delivered to the load. So power delivered to the load, PL is equal to, we have to take output in RMS, output voltage in RMS divided by RL. So take the output voltage in RMS and square it. So we know that the power is equal to V square by R. So output voltage here is we are squaring, and before squaring the output voltage we are taking in its RMS value. Since the output voltage given here is 10, right? So 10 volt is our output voltage, right? So because it is 10 volt is VCC here, so that is the maximum output voltage we'll get, so which is the VCE, right? So so here you see one more thing you clearly find out in this problem, that VCC value is given, right? VCC is nothing but VCE, right, where VCE is our output voltage. We are considering here the maximum output voltage, right? Maximum VCE means peak voltage, which is VCC. Peak voltage is VCC. So maximum point we taken here VCC. So this VCC means maximum peak voltage we are taking in terms of a RMS, which we are take here 10 divided by √2 whole square, right? Means to take a RMS 10 divided by √2 we have to do into whole square, means peak voltage 10 divided by √2 to convert from peak voltage into the RMS then you are squaring it, is given RMS value divided by RL is given 100, which is 0.5 watt, right? Then we'll continue this class A power amplifier for the next session. Till then, take care, bye.